Everybody, today I decided to start up a new type of video that I think could be pretty useful for a lot of people, something I'm going to be calling a skill breakdown. Now, when you recruit a hero, you cannot see their entire skill tree. You only see whatever abilities they have currently available to them based on what level they are, or for the heroes when you first get them at the beginning of the game, you'll only be seeing this tier 1. Now, when that's the case, you don't know what's waiting for you in this tier 2 or this tier 3, and a lot of players may be unsure if they want to invest the time and energy into playing this character, only for them to turn out, wow, the abilities down here are just dog shit, and I'd rather, have brought someone else and put them in and be having fun with them. And I think that's completely understandable. Also, there's lots of characters when you're starting off, I don't know who I want to recruit. You're looking at this alignment chart, and you see there's 5 different heroes you can get depending on which one of these quadrants you want to go for. You don't know how any of them play because there's no previews on their abilities. So hopefully by doing this series, I can help answer some of these questions for some of the players out there. I don't know if the devs plan on implementing a feature to preview skills or anything. If they do, then I guess this series will become sort of obsolete. But until then, I hope this can help at least a few of you. For my first skill breakdown, I decided to do Lady Morgana Le Fay. I chose her because she seems to be a fairly popular hero amongst the selection, based off of all the different players I've been talking to in the Discord or seeing on the Reddit. And I'll be honest, I was one of them. As soon as I saw the alignment tree, I'm like, yep, going Old Faith. So let's take a look at what she has and if this is something of interest to you. Start with tier 1. The sort of basic abilities that she has as an Arcanist. First up, we have Blood Hex. Some Arcanists, I think, may get this at different tiers, but they all have it. Blood Hex is a basic Arcanist Hex ability that causes bleeding, and the target will deal less damage. You can get upgrades for this ability that will decrease their debuff resist, making them more susceptible to other abilities. Decrease the cooldown, increase the hex intensity, which means that's only the pink text, which means the damage reduction part will become stronger, and then increasing the duration. She also has mage armor, or magical armor. Every Arcanist gets access to this, like I said, and with the upgrades, you can increase the amount of armor that the Arcanists have. You can see that's a big whopping 29 at level 25, but it will only block 1 attack. You can get another upgrade to make it so it lasts for 2 attacks. This is just a flat increase to their base armor, so if I took this talent, her armor would be 10 over here. And then an extra injury token, so less likely to get injured. Then we have these passives, just flat more damage, more range, extra potency on her potions. Now for her basic attack, we have Ice Bolt. This is different from Force Bolt, which you may see on Ector, the first Arcanist you're going to get. It does the same thing, except it will apply Chill instead of Knockback. And all of these basic attacks will have pretty similar upgrades on them for her. Extra damage against a hexed unit, extra armor breaking, gain AP if you kill someone with it, and you can split it into 3 different bolts, each one doing less damage, but you'll actually net a little bit more damage if you put all 3 onto the same target. Now for her unique ability, we have Glacial Strike. This is an amazing ability, by the way, one of my favorites of hers. This is a single target, high damage ability that will chill your enemy, 150% weapon damage. With the upgrades, you can reduce its cooldown by 1, decrease its cost by 1, just increase the damage by 15%, and then increase its cost by 1, but it will freeze the target. If you take both of these, it will basically just net even. It'll remain costing 5 AP. The freeze, very, very worth it. As we move on to tier 2, here we have Slowing Hex. Again, very standard for Arcanists. I'm pretty sure they all get this. When you put this on a singular target, it basically makes it, instead of movement costing 1 AP, it'll cost 2 AP. You can reduce the cost of this by 1. You can have it also apply a vulnerability debuff. You can turn it into an AoE, but instead the slow effect won't be as strong on each of them. I usually don't go for this. And then increasing the duration. Very useful. For me, having these hexes last 1 turn isn't really worth it, so I definitely go for the increased durations on these things, as you can see. Then we have Potent Hex. All the Arcanists have access to this, +1 spellcraft, so you can find more of those treasure chests. And Hex Intensity, again, just increasing the potency of the slow or the damage debuff. Terror Wings gain 1 movement AP, and this can actually become a lot if you're spreading out your hexes. I don't have my Arcanist really running around a whole lot, so I don't see much use in this one. But then we have 3 more of her unique abilities, starting with Ice Thorns, another amazing ability. A 4x4 AoE, that's pretty good. A lot of AoEs tend to be 3x3 for 80% weapon damage. With the upgrades, another vulnerability debuff. Have it cause chill, so you can apply chill to a lot of enemies with this ability. Chill is a very strong status effect. Decrease the cost by 1, and then just extra damage. Her other active ability, Ice Wall. This is a very good ability. You can see I don't have it on my Morgana, but that's because I run Morgos, who also has it, and I'll be doing a skill breakdown of her later on too. But you create a 3-tile long ice wall. It lasts 3 turns, and it can provide half cover, which isn't really relevant. I don't use it for cover. I don't use it as a defensive tool really that much. And it has health. You can upgrade this so the ice walls have more health. I would not take this. The way the AI works right now is they almost never attack the wall. The wall really just messes with them and kind of breaks them a little bit. So this is basically a dead talent. Increase the casting range. High casting range is always good. Increase the length by 2. This one I always take, because with a 5 long ice wall, you can just block off entire paths and force enemies to go the long way around, or just to trap them in a corner. And then when the ice wall is destroyed, it freezes units next to this. This includes when the ice wall expires on its own. You don't have to break it. If it expires, it will freeze them. Like 90% sure on that. Okay, moving on to tier 3, we have another baseline Arcanist ability, but a very strong one, Death Hex. This just causes the target to lose a flat percentage of their vitality, and that means targets with big pools of health lose even more health. And this is affected by Hex Intensity, so I've seen this peel off like 70% health before, which is insane. For the upgrades, we have it lowering mental debuff resist, so making it more susceptible to following debuffs, crowd control effects. A vulnerability debuff, also a good pick after taking off a big chunk of their health to then make them easier to kill. Reduce the cooldown. I'm big on cooldown reduction. And then Hex Intensity, this is a must. The rest of these abilities are pretty standard for Arcanists, but I'll go over them anyways. We have Master of Hexes, very useful, increasing Hex Intensity, an upgrade to Hex Intensity, decreasing the AP cost of all your hexes. This one is very, very good. Make it so all your hexes can shed off armor. I think that one's alright. And then increasing the target's damage by 5% for each active hex. Also pretty good. You're going to be throwing out a lot of hexes. This one here, Spell Resistance. Decrease incoming spell damage. Some status effects to burning. Further decreased incoming spell damage. Increase her own mental debuff resist. And just make her immune to the first spell that would target her in an encounter. Strong-willed, mental debuff resist. A lot of characters have this, not just Arcanists. Spell power, increased damage and range, very useful. In Mindstorm, this is a must on every single Arcanist. If you have 3 skills on cooldown, casting a 4th ability will lower their cooldown. This will enable you to just be spamming out spells every single turn, sometimes 2 of her offensive ones in a single turn. You need to get this one. And then in her last unique ability compared to other Arcanists is Ice Spikes. It's a short-range spell that does some damage, and can be pretty useful with some of these upgrades. Impaler, extra damage. Ice Forge, reduce the cost. Bursting spikes for some knockback. I actually like this one. I don't always take knockback, but she's squishy. We want enemies to stay away from her. And then frost shards. This makes it so this applies chill. They have reduced AP. You can run away, and because they have reduced AP, their ability to chase after her is greatly diminished. So there you have it. That is Morgana's entire skill tree. I hope this was useful. Sorry if I was maybe talking a little too fast, but I tried to make sure I hovered over the abilities long enough for you to pause them and read over them yourself if you need to. Like I said, I do plan to cover more of these heroes, try and get as many of these out in a timely manner, maybe try and do one a day. These are pretty easy to record. If the devs release a feature where you can see the entire tree from the beginning, or preview trees on some of those alignment characters before you get a chance to recruit them, then I guess I'll stop making these. But until then, I hope they're useful and you found it useful. So yeah, thanks for watching.